Welcome back to episode 15 of Book Nook Brews, in which we are covering chapters 34 through 50 of Portrait of a Thief.
I think it was 35.
No, 34.
Hmm.
Sus.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 34. I have it here in my recap.
Okay. Yeah.
So, it's a nice Sunday. Hot Sunday here in Florida, but that's per usual. How you been?
Rough. It's been rough as a sports fan.
Yeah.
Especially
you've been
today.
struggling.
But other than that, hey, life's great.
No way. And like book news, I don't really have actually. I just found out that a book that I either read or want to read is being turned into a movie, and I cannot remember for the life of me which one it is, but I was excited about it because I'm stoked for the author. Darn. You know what? I'll have that here for next week. Okay, I'll have it here for next week. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and get into the recap. Well, at least for drinks, we don't really have anything for today because it's like midday for us right now.
Yeah.
So, in spirit, I am thinking of a blue moon, but also a un tecate. That's honestly kind of what I want.
Yeah. I think in spirit right now is probably a Dos Equis or a Corona type of.
You've
type
been
of
on a Dos Equis kick recently.
Yeah, advertising works, man. What can I tell you? That's another thing about sports. They get you with the ads, and they make it look so good.
What have we purchased from ads in this past like sports season?
Our phones.
Yes.
Beer. We've bought like wings, but we've already had we would purchase that without the ads anyway.
True.
But I did get it one time from Buffalo Wild Wings because of their ad that you would get 6 free ones with the new Buffalo Go or whatever.
And the Buffalo comes in.
Yeah. So that worked as well. I think that's it.
You know, I've got to say, speaking of ads, I just complained about 2 of them. Geico has been dropping the ball. Well, not dropping the ball. Okay, here. One of them was kind of funny, but it made absolutely no sense.
I think it's because we didn't really listen to it. We had the volume pretty low and we were just kind of watching. We heard the last line, but we didn't hear what the actual, all of the commercial was.
Yeah, but the second one we saw of the older people going.
But maybe there's with
an accordion
punchline that ties to that. Not maybe, there is, but we just didn't listen to it. But either way, I think Geico should stick to the gecko.
Yeah.
That's what it's known for. That's where it's like, all right, dude, don't try anything else.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where it's at.
I don't know. Get the gecko with the accordion. I'm just saying, it was a little bit weird, but yeah. So as far as the recap, I'm going to try something new this time, where where instead of me saying the chapters, what number we're at and everything, I'm just gonna almost kind of recap it as a story per se, or not a story, but not say chapter 34 or 35.
It's just an overall summary.
Yes, just an overall summary. And I'm not going to say which point of view we're in unless I deem it necessary. So we're going to just try something new. I just feel like it may work better for this book since it is jumping around in point of views. So let's go ahead and just get started with it. Alrighty. So we start off with, as they're reviewing the footage to see what went wrong with this heist, Lily catches a glimpse of a bright yellow Lamborghini speeding away. At that moment, she remembered the guy who told her about the rematch and tells her group that she knows how to catch their thieves. So the crew essentially meets up with the other one and they start negotiating to get the bronze rooster zodiac head. The two people that they end up meeting up with are Chinese socialites or just rich people essentially. Zhao Min and I'm going to butcher this name, Liu Siki. I think that's how I pronounce. Well, that's how I pronounced it. But Siqi. So I'm just gonna say that Siki, and later on, if I remember it correctly, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's how I was saying it in my head.
So. Right, Siki. So both crews agree that the Zodiac heads should be back with China. And so Siki and Min agree on giving them the rooster head back so long as Lily can beat Min in a rematch. And so the race begins. And as Lily is racing, she starts to have just different thoughts going through her head. Essentially, she doesn't really know where she belongs. She feels like she doesn't really belong with China or America. But there's one thing that she did know, and it was the feeling of the gas pedal beneath her feet and the steering wheel in her hands. Well, the crew ends up winning the rooster head back. Min goes up to Will to give him the suitcase, and they chat for a bit about the heist. Min tells Will that he was part of the heist he saw at the Sackler. It was him, Siki, Yuling, and some other professionals. This further confused Will on why Yuling would choose them for the heist, or choose him to even create this crew as a heist. So they ended up leaving. The race ends and they're back at the airport. Daniel gets a text from Siki telling him safe travels, but Daniel knows that she wants something more, so she tells him that next time he's in Beijing to let her know. He then notices he has a voicemail from his dad telling him that he won't be in town for Thanksgiving because he got called out to Europe for the heist investigation. And this could potentially give him a promotion if he finds out who's behind all of it. He also tells him that he's sorry for all he's done, but he's proud of him and is happy they're talking again. When Daniel gets home, he sits down at the table and cries as he listens to his father's voicemail again, feeling guilty for everything. The next day, he goes to a bakery and talks to Irene about his father's voicemail and how he feels. Irene shares that even though her parents have never told her that Will is their preferred child, she has always felt this way. And I just want to share my favorite quote, but I feel like this is something we can come back to later to talk about. But my favorite quote from this was, all parents have their own scars and we're the ones who have to heal from them. So now it cuts to Will calling Yuling and telling her about their next heist being in the UK, planning for late December. He also asked her what will happen if they don't get them all. She doesn't really answer his question, but simply tells him that China has been waiting almost 200 years for these Zodiac heads to come back. Will tells her that they'll make it work, and he doesn't want to let her down. In their next meeting, Alex says they need to do the last 3 heists before the end of the year, because with other potential thieves and more eyes on these heists, security will get worse with more time. Once they even do the 3rd heist, the FBI and others will see that there is a pattern to these thieves. So they need to act fast and get this done as soon as possible. After the meeting, Irene asks Alex to work with her on keeping track of the FBI's investigation rather than working with Daniel, because she feels that it's not fair for him since Daniel and his father are still trying to figure out things between themselves. Alex informs Irene that the museums have footage of her at both museums as a visitor. Even though the FBI hasn't suspected anything, they will have to do the next heist differently. So Will and Daniel go out for a run together, and on their way back, Daniel notices his father's car in the driveway. After he showers, his father asks him to take a seat. He tells Daniel that while reviewing the footage, he recognized his and Will's voice. Daniel tells his father that he's sorry for what he's done. His father forgives him, but tells him there are some things he cannot save him from. After that, Daniel goes over to Will and Irene's parents' place and tells him that his father knows and that he wants this to be over with. The next day, Will goes to speak with Daniel's dad, Mr. Liang. He asks him for more time and tries to have him understand that they did this for the old palace. Mr. Liang says he'll stay silent for now, but they'll have to be careful, and that if he does this again, he'll catch them. Will tells him it won't happen again. Later on, Irene calls Alex to have her walk her through how to delete her code from Mr. Liang's computer. Alex hesitates at first, but then instructs her how. Once Irene removes her code, Alex tells her she doesn't want to go back to how things used to be. So Irene tells her to make something new out of it. Their conversation ends, but Alex picks up the phone to call Will. She informs him about what his sister did and that he needs to talk to her. Will confronts Irene about what Alex told him. They get into a heated argument, each having things to voice about one another. Irene calls Will selfish for only thinking about himself throughout all of this and still thinking about continuing after being caught by Mr. Liang. Will thinks that this is just Irene's way of escaping this and she never thought they would pull this off. The argument ends with Irene confessing that all she's done in her life is to try and fix his mistakes and that they're done. Later on, Irene ended up calling Lily to see if she was in the wrong in her fight with Will. Lily says she isn't, but doesn't really understand why she would tell Will that she would be a part of the heist and felt like she never really, that this heist never mattered to her in the way that it did for the rest of the crew. Lily ends up hanging up and wonders how she'll go back to life not belonging anywhere. The heists were the first time she felt like she belonged somewhere. Now that this was gone, what would be next? Will gets an email from the Met regarding his application status. They were impressed by his resume and wanted to invite him for an interview for the position of Assistant Curator of Asian Art. At first, he wanted to call Irene, but since they're not really on speaking terms, he calls Lily. She congratulates him and tells him it was probably best they didn't finish the rest of the heist. Will then says that maybe he can try to ask them to return them and try to take them down from the inside. Irene and Lily go on a little road trip to Boston and talk about the what ifs and how to go back to their lives, preparing for new jobs and leaving behind the heist. But deep down, they both truly just wanted something more. Later that night, Lily got a text from Zhao Min reading "Your turn." She quickly switches her tab to incognito to search for Chinese art theft and sees an article for a theft in Norway's Cody?
I read it as Cody.
Cody, right? Okay.
But I don't know how they pronounce that over here.
So we'll say it like that. And sees an article for a theft in Norway's Cody Art Museum. Min and Siki kept their word. They stole every piece in the Chinese collection except for one, the Zodiac head. At that moment, so many possibilities opened up. Later on, Will and Irene apologized to each other, both confessing that they always compared themselves with each other, and maybe that's what's been holding them back and creating some tension. Lily and Irene help Will prep for his interview, quizzing him on questions he could get about Asian art, and then talking about what he could do once he was hired. Just maybe he could take them down from the inside. Will sees that the Met put out a statement about recent Chinese art theft, and of course they condemn it while overlooking colonialism and the art's history with bloodshed. So Will and Lily go to his studio to empty it out. Lily informs Will that there was another recent art theft by Min and Siki at Norway's art museum, and the text she received from Min. Lily looks at Will and says in a matter of fact that he wants to rob the Met. Of course, he wants to rob them all, but the Met would have to do for now. And that's how it ends in chapter 50. I think I did it again.
Yeah.
Not so much of a big cliffhanger like the other books, but this one is like I want to read. What are they going to decide to do?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
I hope they get caught. Because at that point, it's just stupid.
You want them to get caught?
Yeah.
Why? Explain yourself.
They already know they're being looked at. He is about to get an interview at the Met. It would be stupid. One, it would be stupid to keep going. Two, it would be stupid to keep going at the place he's about to interview that he actually really wants. But he also just wants to take that back, which is fine, whatever, but like, I don't know. I just think they're being stupid. I hope they get caught.
So you think they're going to get caught? Okay.
I don't think they're going to get caught, but I hope they get caught.
So what has changed from last week to this week that, you know, you kind of saw a potential for them completing these heists and now not so much? Was it really just when Daniel's dad,
Daniel's dad straight up saying, hey, I heard you. It's like no matter what they do now, like what are they going to start using voice modifiers? At that point, he's going to know. He's like, oh, these are different voices, but because they're changing that. Daniel wants out, so he's not going to go back. Will's dumbass is probably going to be like, hey, no, actually we could. Even though he already said he wasn't going to do it. Like, I knew that when he told Mr. Liang that he wasn't going to do it again, I knew he was going to do it again. But
I knew that was a lie too. But
as soon as he got the email for the interview, like he's completely forgot about it, and he's like, I'm going to go do the interview. And then he changed his mindset from stealing the art to taking them down from the inside, which is fair. Do that. Mm-hmm. Why are you risking going to jail and not being able to get anything when you have your, I'm not going to say dream job because it's still assistant curator, but it's like you have that door opened up. And everybody else would be stupid to follow along. Irene never thought it would be possible. She knew it would end like that.
Mm-hmm.
And still doesn't really know what she wants to do, and she's not going to figure it out with money. That's still like, yeah, you have money, but you need to know what you're going to do with it. And she had no idea. Lily has the Microsoft thing going for her. It's an internship. And then, like, she's not happy with that, but what is the money going to do? You're just probably going to put the money into car parts to keep racing, which is fine. But then what are you going to do when you stop racing? And then there's Alex, who's just going to follow Will.
And I think it's reflected more in Lily and her, I don't like to call it an identity crisis, but it kind of, like, I feel like that's probably the proper term for it, where she doesn't really feel American and she doesn't really feel Chinese. Yeah. Like, she doesn't feel like she belongs to both cultures. And in some way, I can sympathize with her for that, because in the same way that I am from Mexico, but I'm pretty much raised here in America, you know, I feel tied to some things from Mexico, but if I go back, I'm not really what they call like a native Mexican per se.
Yeah.
But here, I don't really truly feel American. So, and like those things, like I can understand her not feeling like she belongs in one place or another, but is the heist really just the way for that, like to make you feel more tied to your Chinese culture? I don't know. Or would it be Chinese culture or heritage? Or your Chinese side, I guess.
I think heritage, but also the culture because of the actual like art pieces. Because the whole thing that they want to do is, they want to bring back the items that were stolen from Chinese culture. Mm-hmm. But it's like at the same time, they're not even yours. Like, Mr. Liang like told Will, he's like, yeah, but that was 200 years ago. And then Will goes back, yeah, but I still remember it, and I'm pretty sure you do too. It's like, yeah, dude, but if it doesn't matter that much to him, why does it matter that much to you? It's like, is it really worth getting caught by him as well? Like, you already got caught. You already did.
You got caught.
Is it worth getting caught again, and then him telling you straight up that he's not going to save you from it? He's literally out there to catch you if you do it again. Not only
Which,
are
by
you
the way,
gonna,
this is not their first time doing something similar to this, because Mr. Liang, he says it there too. Like Will has mentioned that this is not the first time. This kind of goes back to a time where Mr. Liang had a cover for a bronze coin that he had stolen years back.
oh,
And yeah, and I think it's mentioned in there that Daniel and Will have a history of doing something similar to this.
I think that's probably why then Will was so quick to get Daniel involved and why Daniel was hesitating in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we were right. His dad got involved in it. He was about to get the promotion too, or he got the promotion.
No, he's gonna get the promotion if he catches who these thieves are. And
well, there you go. He fucked everything up for himself and for his dad.
yeah, I mean, we knew that they were gonna get caught by Daniel's dad. We knew there was gonna be something. Like we knew that he was eventually this conflict was gonna come up. I just didn't think it would happen after the second heist. I thought they would at least be halfway, if not towards the very end of the heist, and that's when they would get, close to being caught.
Yeah.
Is that thing still on?
Huh?
Is it still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think as soon as the voicemail hit, I'm like, okay, he's gonna tell him something in that voicemail that's gonna change everything. If anything, I'm pretty sure a thought that ran in my head was like that voicemail is gonna be it. And he's like, I know it's you or whatever. But once he revealed the voicemail and then he talked about the promotion and all that, I was like, oh, it's gonna take a bit more because he just told them that he was gonna go over there and they just came back. So it's going to take a bit, but then they do it right then and there. And then for there to be, that's the one thing I was like, extra security footage. It's like, because they already had deleted the actual, like, the footage, right? That's how they save themselves. But then Mr. Liang was like, yeah, every museum keeps a backup of it. I was like, like, that's such a cop-out way to like get them caught. I think it's like they made sure of that footage to be deleted, and I don't know where there's extra footage is like
But I think it was other, like, I know Alex didn't quite delete all the footage, but she deleted some footage, because if you delete all of it, it'll eventually just trace back to them. I think the footage that she deleted was
of the actual heist.
Yeah, of the actual heist itself.
Yeah.
But maybe I didn't understand that.
But they had a backup of
I
that
thought they
recording.
knew about the backup. Oh, no.
Apparently not.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit too... I don't know. I felt like that part happened a little too early. But I don't know. Maybe so much more is going to happen in these last few chapters. I mean, we know that there's going to be another heist. I think we know that. But the question is it going to be worth it, and if they're going to get caught?
Yeah. They're doing the Met one, right? The next one. Yeah.
Yeah. But at that point, would it be even worth it to do the Met? Because you still have 3 that you have to do.
Well, yeah, but remember the reason they're about to do the Met is because the other group already stole the rest of the stuff. They left the other thing there. No?
They left the Zodiac head at the Norway Museum.
Oh.
They stole every other piece of Chinese in the Chinese collection, but they left the Zodiac head for them.
So what's the point of going to the Met?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I don't understand. If you still have 3 museums that you have to do a heist to even collect the $50 million, why would you even just do one? Like, at that point, you need to have a good plan to do the rest.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense for you to just do the Met and then see if you're going to go from there. No. The point of it is to do all the heists to get all 5 Zodiac heads to get the $50 million. But if you're just going to do 3, and leave it at that, you're still not going to get any money to him. I mean, unless Yuling actually is going to give them for whatever they bring to her. But it was 4 or 5 zodiac heads, not 3.
Yeah.
So that part I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, me neither. Now that I think about it, I'm like, doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, like, it doesn't really make any sense, but at the same time, it's like, you just...
It's like, I'm not really seeing a point to it unless it's straight up just, oh, I'm about to interview there. Let's just fuck them over before I go.
But it's like, why?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, aside from this story really talking about, like, going, like, these heists per se, the story really does cover other important topics. Like I was just mentioning, Lily and her, for lack of better term, identity crisis of not being really able to identify herself or feeling tied to the American culture or the Chinese culture or heritage per se. Because I feel like that's something a lot of, not mixed kids, but immigrant kids feel.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that topic being talked about, as well as, and I mentioned this earlier, that my favorite quote was, this is from Irene, that all parents have their own scars. We're the ones who have to heal from them, which I feel is another topic that is very much related to immigrant parents.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it was a nice... This book covers these topics very well. It's not going in depth because I don't really think it has to, but it's being brought up for thought, especially for others who don't have that experience or like go through that, to kind of read that this is what a lot of immigrant kids go through.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of the time our parents don't really know how to express themselves. And so a lot of those bad habits, or I guess bad habits, old fashioned thoughts,
yeah,
are taught to us, and we're the ones who are like, no, this isn't right. Like, it should not have to be this way.
Yep.
And we're essentially healing from their scars and trying to heal ourselves from that and do better.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it does it a good, like, it brings it up well to where the book doesn't turn into, hey, here's this lesson.
Yeah.
Like, it ties it into the story seamlessly, and you're like, whoa, that's a thing. And then you keep going with the story, and then it hits you again, and you're like, dang. And it's cool to, like, just bring it up and just not throw it at you. You know, it's like developing with the story as well.
And developing with the characters and revealing itself from the characters as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess this is what I enjoy reading from authors that are not, like, white, per se, because they have another perspective. I mean, people of color have another perspective to bring. Immigrants have another perspective to bring in these stories. And even if it's not the whole point of the book, it showcases in some ways where people who are, like, who can relate to it feel seen a little bit by it and can take some pieces from the book with them. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool, and I really enjoyed those talking pieces per se.
Yeah. No, I think it's enjoyable. Like I said, it's seamless. It's not, you don't feel like you're being taught something.
Mm-hmm.
It like works with the story, so it makes it enjoyable to read.
Yeah. To deviate a little bit from this, and going back to our theories from last episode, you were right.
Yeah.
In the sense that you said yeah, but what was I going to say?
About, like, his dad?
No.
We're not going back to that?
No. I was actually going to mention that, like,
the crew.
Yeah, the crew, and how Lily was going to call call that number, and she was gonna. I mean, I'm glad that they reviewed the footage because that's a good way to tie it in.
Yeah.
She saw the yellow Lamborghini. It's like, wait a minute, I think I know who our thieves are.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if you remember it, but when they met up with that crew or with Min and Siki, they said, like, Will asked them, it's like, are you not afraid of getting caught? They're like, we have so much money. The moment we get back to China, they're not going to even touch us.
Yeah.
And it's like,
they could
gosh, it must be nice to be that rich to not even worry about that.
Yeah, because they dropped a line too. They were like, yeah, when we get caught, all we have to say is, why would we steal art when we can just buy it? And they would let them go with that. And I was like, damn, imagine.
Just right, imagine. He's like, we're going to get onto our planes, go back, and they're not even going to touch us. And I was like, oh my God. Must be nice. Must be nice.
Imagine we do that. We get caught. We tell them that. And you're like, yeah, right. Get in the prison. Like,
show me your bank accounts right now. No. So I thought that was a nice little bit from them too. So they didn't join forces, but they did kind of keep a mutual agreement in the sense like they're gonna steal just Chinese art in general, and the crew essentially has the liberty to just.
But also, what is it? Yuling? Is that
Yuling?
Yuling knew that was gonna happen. She knew that crew was gonna get in the way, and she still doesn't tell them.
I don't understand that part.
And they knew about Yuling, like, because that was the crew that went to the Sackler. So they knew, she probably stopped working with them, and they're like, oh, she's planning something on her own. So once they learned that the Zodiac heads were hers, they'd be like, all right, fine, we'll respect her doing that. But why didn't Yuling tell them that there's
I don't understand that part. I feel like there's so much to Yuling that we still don't know, and I'm wondering if we'll even get to know more about her, per se.
I think we have to, because even Will was questioning during that meeting with, was it Zhao Ming? Zhao Min. Like, he even asked him, Zhao asked him, he's like, why did they even choose you?
She's like, I'm not, I think he said it along the lines, like, I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, he's like that.
Not in a rude way, but like.
Going back to the Sackler, he's like, I don't know why she stopped and gave you that card. And that's when Will was like, wait, that was you? And he was like, yeah, I don't know why she stopped there. And then that's when Will started questioning. He's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because, what did he say? Maybe it's because they were all connected by like loss or something like that. And so even he doesn't know the answer for sure. So there's still that we have to figure out, like, why did Yuling leave them, and then why did Yuling make them a crew? But
yeah, that part is like still the mystery, and I really hope it does get brought up later on.
Yeah,
because otherwise it'd be like it'd be a plot hole that we just won't find out, and I don't think it's fair. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bummer that Daniel's dad like essentially caught them so early. I figured it would happen, just not so early, I guess.
Like, we say so early, but then there's only 80 pages left. So
I know. Ugh. I have some thoughts on like how these heists have been. I kind of wish they were longer. A little bit longer. I feel like sometimes those 2 or 3 pages are just not enough, and I kind of wish it was a whole like 10-page chapter per se.
I don't know. I think it was fine to me. I don't think I was missing out on anything.
Sometimes I didn't feel like that sense of urgency. Like, I didn't feel like my heart was like beating along as they're like doing this heist. Like, sometimes I enjoyed it, but I just felt like I needed a little bit more oomph in it per se. But I guess we'll talk about that towards like the Brews the Brews review next week. So I'll keep my thoughts or keep more of it reserved for that episode, especially since we still have chapters like 51 to 69. Like you said, less than like pretty much 80 pages left for this. So who knows? Maybe things will tie better, but I just don't see them doing 3 heists in those 80 pages left.
No, I don't think they're going to do 3.
They're going to do 1, and I feel like that's the thing that's going to ruin it all for them.
Yeah.
But it's like at the cost for what?
Yeah.
Because Alex has so much to lose from this. She's helping out her parents with being employed at Google.
Yeah.
And if she gets caught, goes to jail for this, then what? She's left with less than what she had before.
Yeah.
Daniel, he also has a lot to lose from this. His chance of going to medical school.
Yeah, but I don't think Daniel's going to go back. Like, he already said he was done.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Alex would go back. Right now it's just Irene, Lily, and Will. But the only one that is thinking about doing it is Will.
And Lily.
Well, because Lily got the text, but we don't know how she feels about doing it. Like, she got the text and got like that little like push to want to do it, but Will has been the only one who's like, I want to rob the Met.
True. I will say though, I mean, when Irene called Alex to essentially wipe her code and everything they've done from Mr. Liang's like computer or from like the FBI system, Alex did afterwards call Will to like tell her, like, hey, you need to talk to your sister. Almost like tattled on her per se, which fair. And there's still a crew. They still have to communicate about that. But at the same time, I also feel like Alex still wants to do it. But the question is it just really just for money? Because after that, when you have the money, then what? You're going to help your parents. And afterwards, what are you going to do? Are you still going to be at Google? Like,
well, no, the whole point of her doing that is that she's just done with that life.
Oh, okay.
She's done with Google. She's done with Silicon Valley. She's done with California. She just wants the money to be able to figure out where to go.
True.
To help her parents. That way she won't have to stay at Google to do that. It's like give some of the money to them. But at the same time, I'm like, while they're saying all this, I'm thinking, where are their parents thinking that money's coming from? It's like a lot of them want to help someone else. And it's like, how are you going to tell them, hey, here's $3 million? Where did that come from?
My thing is also, from the bank perspective, you're going to get all this money deposited into your account. How is that not going to raise some red flags?
I don't think they're probably going to put it into account. I think usually with heists, it's usually cash.
Cash?
Yeah.
Fair point.
It's either that or it's split up into different accounts. But
Fair point. I could see that, yeah. I guess, what are our theories for next episode? The next episode, the last few chapters. So they're gonna do the Met heist. It's in home, which, by the way, I don't know if you remember when Will called Liang after the second heist and tells him that they're gonna do they're gonna go up to the UK for the next heist. She said, why not the US? You're already going back. Why not the Met?
yeah, she did mention that. Is there something else in the Met? There's something about the Met that everybody's so interested in.
It can't be another Zodiac head, because there's only 3 left, and there are 3 more places they're supposed to go. The UK, I forgot the name of it. The UK, Norway Cody, and then the Met.
Yeah. Unless Yuling knows, like now with all of this going on, the museums might work together and all 3 of them might be at the Met.
Maybe.
They might move them all to the same place. But she's just not telling them straight up. She's just kind of hinting. It's like, hey, go do the Met. I don't know. I still think it's stupid.
Yeah, there's something about... Huh?
I don't like Will.
Yeah, Will for the most part. And I feel like Irene has all the all the reason to be mad at him or bother and aggravated by him is because he's just so self-centered.
Yeah.
Like, all he thinks about is himself. And granted, I feel like maybe life isn't going the way that he wants, and he feels like he's not really living up to his parents' expectations. But you're telling me that robbing, or like, yeah, stealing from all of these museums, bringing back those statues to China is going to make your parents feel proud of you? You're going to leave your mark on history, but no one's going to know your name.
Yeah.
Maybe China at most. But no one really is going to know your name until maybe after you pass. That way you don't get in trouble with law enforcement.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, he found out that his parents hang up his paintings.
Yeah.
It's like, is that not enough after that? But it's just, he's so caught up on wanting to make history.
It's just, I feel like no one really has a true reason to do it except just the main one of like, oh, giving this back to China. Which, yes, I do agree that this should, like, these zodiac heads should honestly just be in China, not in places that have conquered them or stolen from them, because it is just stolen art pieces.
Yeah.
So it should be back in China, but no one's gonna do it. But this, I like, at that point, if Yuli has such a good crew to do it, why not just let her do? Why does she not just continue to do it? At this point, she seems like the more professional out of all of them.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a reason.
Yeah. I hope we find out, because I'm fed up. I want to know.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I'm nosy and I want to know. But I almost feel like we're probably going to, I do feel like this story is going to end with an open ending. I don't feel like we're actually going to have like a true ending where we know exactly how it's going to like end for a lot of our characters. At least for some, I feel like a lot of it's going to be just open to interpretation. And I'm pretty sure I said that earlier in the...
Yeah, you said it last episode, but I just at that point I was like, yeah, maybe. But now I'm like, I don't see a path to where that could be an open ending. No. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna get like, I don't know at this point. I don't know if they're gonna get caught or not, but there's gonna be an ending. I think I don't think there's room for an open ending.
Okay.
I just don't think it would make sense. Like, there might be, but it won't make sense if they do it like that. So I hope there's not, is what I'm saying at this point.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I like those, but when it works, not like this. So hopefully there's not.
I also think that Daniel might join them in this last heist. I don't know why or how, but I feel like he may not hold back and just sit in the sidelines. I feel like he's going to want a piece of this heist. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what goes through his head. I mean, you already know your dad caught you. Like, at that point, anything you do that's not doing it is stupid.
True.
But
yeah. I think that's pretty much it for all of our thoughts for these chapters now.
I think so.
Or do you have anything else to add?
I will say I really liked how they pretty much didn't do Lily's race. Like, they did Lily's race, but then it kind of was like, all right, the light turned green and they went. And that's where the chapter ended. And then the next chapter is the transaction between Will and Zhao. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, here's our end of the deal. You have the head. And it was like, all right, nice. So she did win. I liked it. I didn't want to see the race.
Really?
Well, not
I thought you might want to.
Not really, like, see, but it's like, I didn't want them to spend 2-3 pages on a race. Like, I think the way it was done well, because
mm-hmm. I agree.
It ends the chapter, and it was like, it gives you that anticipation. Like, all right, I'm going to read the next page, and I better find out. And then it delivers with, here's the transaction. Here's your end of the deal. And you get to, like, you have to like pay attention to that to know that she won. It doesn't tell you straight up, so it's still that anticipation and like, wait, transaction, that means she won. Nice, like, you know,
Yeah.
like that. I like that, but like at the beginning where she was racing and all that, I liked it, but in that particular part, it worked the way they did it because it was also not just a race for fun or a race for the car. It was a race for that transaction. So for them to go straight from that transitioning over to that transaction was really done well. I don't think if it was a movie, I don't think it would work well. I think in a movie, you would have to show the race, and you wouldn't be able to do that transition. But for a book, I think it worked well.
No, I agree too. I think like not showing every race is good.
Yeah.
And the way she did it for this one is so seamless and so nice because she's not telling you Lily won. No, you have to read it to understand that because, you know, they ended up getting the Zodiac head, Lily won.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of showing rather than telling you straight up.
Right.
So I like that too.
Yeah.
I think it was a very creative way of going about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I really have. I think I hit everything I wanted to mention off to the side. So yeah. So next episode, it'll be just the last chapters 51 through 69, which seems like a lot, but it's really only 80 pages.
Yeah.
Like all of these pages are essentially just going to be 1 or 2 pages per se.
All these chapters are 1 to 2
pages? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. All these chapters are essentially just going to be like 1 to 2 pages at most for some.
Yeah.
If not the majority of it. Which I have a feeling that's going to make it feel like a fast pace.
Yeah.
Towards the end. So I'm excited to see how that goes. So our overall ending theories are they're potentially going to get caught in the Met heist. Yeah. They're not going to complete all 3, but they are going to do at least the Met for sure. My theory is that Daniel is going to join them in some way. I just feel like he won't be able to hold himself back from participating.
Okay.
So just some thought. But yeah, I think the gang's going to get back together for one last heist and then potentially get caught.
I don't think potentially. I think they are going to get caught. If they do it, they're going to get caught. I think.
And if they do get caught, I think it might just be Will who gets caught for it all.
Maybe.
Not everyone else.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So yeah, next week it'll be chapters 51 through 69. And then we also have the book for the month of June.
Oh, yeah.
Brought to you by Pablo. What is it?
I went with The Martian by Andy. I don't know if it's Andy Weir or Andy Weir. It's with a W, but I don't know if it's one of those that you pronounce as a V. But it is the one that's that the movie The Martian is based on, if you've seen it. I still have not, but it's one that I have on my wanting to watch list.
Okay.
But I thought, hey, why not read it? Because I was looking for something fiction, but something that we haven't done. You know, I didn't want to go to dragons. I didn't want to go to mythology again, anything like that. I'm like, let me just switch it up again. And lately, for like the past 2 weeks, I've been on this kick of, well, you know, I already like soundtrack music.
Yeah.
Like orchestra and all that. But lately, the past 2 weeks, that's kind of been heavier on that. And so I've been listening to a lot of that. And in that was the Interstellar soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I've also been mentioning to you that we should watch it and all that stuff. So I was like, is there something out there that's kind of like that? And The Martian is one of those that is also out there, and then there's like 2 other books by the same author that is similar type of vibes. So I'm like, I've wanted to watch the movie, so I'm like, let me just let's see if we can read the book. And then I heard that the book is, or the movie is 99% accurate to the book. So I was like, let's do that. And because I have yet to see a movie that's exactly, or not exactly, but that much
Similar to the
similar
book.
to the book. So it's like, let's do this, and then we'll watch the movie and see what we actually think of it. So
I think I told you, I think I've seen parts of that movie, but it's been like years ago. And it was always when my mom would put it like on a Sunday. So it's always me in passing. So
yeah,
this, I guess, will be my first time viewing it all from start to beginning. But yeah. So we'll start The Martian in June. I'm actually stoked for it.
yeah.
I didn't know it was a book, so I'm curious to see how that is going to be written. So, yeah, that's all for this episode. So, again, next week will be the end of Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. We're going to also be doing our Brews review.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be? Our 4th Brews review. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it'll be our 4th Brews review. And then we'll also talk about the chapters that we'll be reading for June, at least for the first week of June for The Martian.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. It was nice chatting with you guys. A nice unsuccessful heist, but we'll get him next time. Maybe. All right. See you guys.
See you.
Bye.